Hi, my name is Joshua Komolafe, and I thought I would conclude my thoughts and musings on mentorship. But before I do, it would be good if I provided a summary on the first and second posts I did for those that haven't had the chance to read up, so you can see where I'm coming from and where I'm going to. In the first part of my thoughts and musings on mentorship, I used the analogy of the desert and variance in temperatures to highlight the importance of mentors in one's life, and that post was specifically to mentees. In that post, I used the daytime, the sun, to describe that there's a period in your life when things seem okay, you can navigate by yourself because you seem to know where you're going, you don't really need anyone. Any obstacles that show up in that time, because you can see or have some kind of idea of where you're going, you can just avoid them, and everything's all well and good. But in that post, I then also highlighted that every daytime changes, it doesn't last forever, and during the night time, what happens in the desert is that the heat and the light disappears. And because there's no atmosphere in the desert, what actually happens is the temperatures drop severely. And in those dark times of your life and career when you're not too sure where to go or how to navigate yourself, the clouds act as covering. And relating that to the mentor, giving them the access to your life, what you do is you're exposed to their connections, their wealth of knowledge and direction from them. And even though most times they seem very nonchalant and far away, just like the clouds, when you have the cloud there, just like in the city, when it's been hot in the daytime, at night it doesn't suddenly drop severely because of the cloud and the atmosphere. So when you have the atmosphere present in your life, when things don't seem to be going right or you're not too sure where to go next, that gives you that covering that you need. And it's just like an insurance policy, so to speak, and to ensure that some of the mistakes or pit holes in the way you can avoid and not make the same mistakes. And so I encourage everyone out there to make sure, from the first post in particular, that you have someone or people that you go to ask for advice, or for when things aren't going as well as planned, they can guide you and say, don't do this, take this step, take those steps. For the second part, that was addressed specifically to mentors, and I use the analogy of electricity from the power station going all the way to the socket in the kitchen. And at any given time, 35,000 volts can be released from the power station across the power grids, the tall poles in the country with the lines, get into the kitchen, which only actually gets 240 volts. And so one wants to ask the question, what happened to the 35,000? How does it change down to 240 volts? And if you check at the top of your street, or maybe next to the power grid itself, there are some big boxes, and they're called step-down transformers. And as the up to 35,000 volts are passed from the power station, when they get to the step-down transformer, it breaks it down so that all that comes to your kitchen is all that's needed. And if you had any more in your kitchen, it could be hazardous to health, and fires can break out and so on and so forth. Comparing that to an industrial station where up to 600 volts, for example, in some sockets can be received, you notice that this is to mentors now. Different mentees have different capabilities, and so having that wealth of knowledge, the connections, the experience, you have to learn the capabilities and the different limitations of your mentees. So some require 240 volts, some require 600 volts, and so on and so forth. Ensuring that you understand those different limitations and you only give to them what is required so they don't die. Exposing them to too much, dying quote, exposing them to too much could be hazardous to them. They wouldn't know how to handle it. But as they begin to grow, as they require more, you understand that, okay, it's time to show them this new person, show them this new step to help them succeed. And finally, to conclude my thoughts and musings, I decided to speak on growth and change. And in this post, this video vlog, I wanted to address both the mentee and the mentor. And today, the analogy I'm going to be using is the plant and the plant pot. where the plant is the mentee and the plant pot is the mentor and everything that comes with it. Initially, when the seed is submerged within the soil in the plant pot, the nourishment, the sunlight, the water that's required is given to it. And assuming the plant pot's indoors, what that does for the seed and the plant is that it protects it from insects, from animals, and any external things that might have affected the growth of that plant. And over time, the plant begins to grow and grow more and more. And as it searches for more knowledge, it's trying to expand itself and get to the next level, the roots begin to hit the boundary of the plant pot. And when this happens over time, the roots turn brown and begin to wither. Relating this to the mentee and the mentor, initially the mentee is not sure where to go, what steps to take, and that mentor, the plant pot, offers the nourishment, the nutrients required, giving direction, the sunlight, the water, this is how to grow, this is what you do. And over time, the mentee starts to outgrow the mentor. So the problem starts to kick in when the mentee feels, okay, I've gained everything I need to gain, it's time to move on. But then on the side of the mentor, the plant pot, they start to feel like the plants, the mentees, are unappreciative of the things they've done at the beginning. And so to solve this problem, the mentees need to understand their capabilities and limitations and be humble enough to accept that, okay, this is the amount I can give to the plant, the mentee. Once they've hit that, to either begin to release them onto bigger plant pots or to a field so they can flourish as intended. And on the side of the mentee, the plant, you need to start to realize that as you're moving on, you never forget what the plant pot offered you at the beginning, without which it would have been difficult to grow. It saved you from weeds, from insects, and so on and so forth. Mistakes that they've made or mistakes that other people are making, you're shielded from that. And so as you're moving on as the plant, the mentee, you never forget that, oh, this is what was done for me at the beginning stage. And you always go back and say thank you. Once this equilibrium is reached, then the chemistry is perfect. Growth and change is inevitable. As Jimmy Dean said, I can't change the direction of the wind, but I can adjust my sails to ensure that I always reach my destination. Because growth and change is inevitable, from the side of the mentee, you have to ensure that as you're growing and you're changing, you're always looking back and saying, thank you. From the side of the mentor, you accept this is the amount I can give to my mentee, and you allow them to move on. Make sure you reach that equilibrium. Thank you very much for watching. My name is Joshua Komolafe. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, and any other thing. Follow me on my social media, and feel free to book me to speak at one of your events on my website, www.jkomolafe.com. Thank you very much.